Professor Wesley, thanks for your time as always. So the Senate trial has been deemed constitutional, but the Democrats, with only 6 Republicans voting with them, need 11 more in order to convict. It looks unlikely.
Looks highly unlikely, Kieran. One thing I would put on the table is the incredible ineptitude of Trump's defence team, if you like. It's being led by a personal injuries lawyer. They've only been appointed for the last 8 days, and you'd have to say their performance and their statements afterwards were incredibly inept. That being said, there is very strong politics at play here. It's highly unlikely that 11 Republican senators will basically put their own power positions at risk by voting for this. So I think it really is going to be a bit of a going through the motions at the moment. I think the Democrats will use this to further document exactly what went on, and we know some really disturbing elements of organisation behind this went on. I think that there could be some elements of looking to putting the far right in the United States under much greater law enforcement surveillance after this. That may be an outcome as well.
I saw some analysis that suggested if the Republicans, if the Senate were to have a silent vote, i.e., not putting their names to the vote, that Trump would likely be impeached. But because of that political blowback that you spoke of, and because he's got so much support within the Republican base, they see it as political suicide if they were to do that, many of them.
Yeah, look, that's right. I think there are some in the Republican Party, like Lynn Cheney, who want to use this opportunity to say that the Republican Party must excise Donald Trump from, its history. That the Republican Party, if it continues to go in this direction, is imperiling itself and its own ideals. But I think people like Lynn Cheney are in the minority in the Republican Party. I think that they can see, for example, that Donald Trump picked up 70+ million votes. That's a very, very big voter base that is likely to be very unimpressed if it's representatives and senators start breaking with the Trump legacy. So that is the political reality. What individual senators think privately about Trump's involvement in what happened is immaterial. What really matters to a lot of them is not only their own political careers, but also control of the Senate. They want to make sure that they don't lose control of the Senate as they've lost control of the House, and continue to be in the minority in the House as well.
With Joe Biden and his early days in the White House, he's been very, very busy, really, in terms of those executive orders that Annalise Nielsen mentioned earlier, and also going really large in terms of the recovery package, much bigger than many thought he would or possible, but he is not leaving much in the tank. What do you make of his early efforts in the White House?
Look, I think, you can't avoid comparing it to the early months of Barack Obama's administration, which was both purposeful but also cautious. And I think Biden realises that the depth of this crisis is actually much greater than the crisis that Obama inherited. You've got Obama had a serious economic crisis on his hands. He had an economy still in meltdown, whereas Biden's got an economic crisis plus a health crisis. So I think he knows that he's got to act fast. I think he knows, as he's said many times, that things will get worse before they get better. And that he knows that if he doesn't turn this around relatively quickly, he's got a midterm election coming up in a couple of years, and that the Democrats will be punished. So he's got to get things moving again. He's got to show demonstrable sort of progress on both the virus and the economy before the campaigning starts for the midterms in 2022.
What's your read on this initial WHO series of findings released overnight, our time, out of their 1 month-long mission to Wuhan?
I guess my initial reaction is, well, the mission went ahead, obviously under great duress and at great cost, and it told us not a lot more than we already knew, that it likely migrated from animals to humans. I think they've nominated pangolins and bats. This was always the speculation. If there's any value, Kieran, I think it's knocked on the head, well, let's hope it's knocked on the head, the conspiracy theories that this came out of some sort of medical laboratory. There have been allegations made, particularly in the United States, that it came out of a Chinese medical laboratory. The Chinese have returned fire to say it's come out of an American medical laboratory. Conspiracy theories abound, and yet one of the things that the report seems to have knocked on the head, at least officially, is the thought that it came out of some sort of military program, that it seems to have confirmed that it's a zoonotic disease like many of the other coronavirus pandemics that we've seen in recent years.
And finally, the situation in Myanmar. Is there any quick resolution to this, or sadly, are we looking at months again of military control and thwarted democratic ambitions?
Months and probably years, I would say. It looks like the military regime has decided to react with force. There are tragic reports of people being fatally wounded. In particular, one woman shot in the head with what looks to be live ammunition. So not only are they using rubber bullets, they're using live ammunition as well. Unfortunately, this could get really, really bloody, and it's a tragedy for the people of Myanmar.
It certainly is, Professor Wesley. Appreciate your insights as always. Talk to you soon.
Thanks, Kieran.